Hi, Dawn. Just finish this. So I'll get started in a couple minutes. Let a few more people hop on, find it on the feed. Welcome, Pinky Duff. This product, it's fun. I've just used it on this and I have a whole list of things now I want to do. I'm excited to show it. All right, I'm going to give about one more minute and then I will get started. Tonight's live is a very simple project, and I did that on purpose so that I could really focus on showing you the new sparkle paste and how that works. But it's still a fun project and actually has more uses than just being a coaster as well. So I'll go into that here in a minute when we get started. But while we wait during this last minute, for those who are new here, my name is Julia and I'm one of the educational designers for ThermOWeb on the fabric side. And tonight we are doing the coasters, and as you can see I have a dual screen, so the majority of the time I will be over at my workstation. There is some sewing involved in this project, so you will see me hop over here to my sewing machine and I will look at the feed if there's any questions, and Dawn on the feed, she will also help answer any questions as well and respond to any comments. So with that being said, I am going to go over to my workstation and get started. I'm going to make my little picture a little smaller. Are my girls dressing up for Halloween? Yes, of course they are. They are 6 and 10, so they are still very much into Halloween. My youngest is going to be Wednesday Addams. I don't know where she got the idea from, maybe a friend, because she has never seen anything from the Addams family. But she looks really cute in her black dress, and we did buy her a wig to wear with the black hair. But I bought a dress, I didn't make it, and I bought a dress she could wear again, because that seemed more economical. All right, so tonight we are making these coasters. Very simple, as you'll see tonight. But the real reason I wanted to be on here is look at that shimmer. That is the new HeatnBond Sparkle Paste by Jennifer Long, Sew a Story. And this is in the pumpkin color. There are 14 colors available, and it's permanent. I can actually tell you these, I did actually wash these. Long story short, I made an example, which I have over here for later, that I'll show you, because you have to press it after it dries for an hour, and I wanted to have that available. I messed it up though. So I took it and I washed it off, and it all came off before it had been set. And this is one that had been set, and I thought, I'm going to wash these as well. And I did. And look at that. It still looks exactly how I put it on. And this one I used a stencil. This one I just paint it with a paintbrush. So there's different application methods as well. So we will get started. First thing you will need is, if you're going to make this exact pumpkin, you're going to want the template. This is available. I have on the blog, and there's a link in the description for tonight's live. So you'll need to print this out and cut it out. I also have it for the stem as well, or you can just eyeball the stem. And I have already cut it out for us here. Tonight we will be using, this is a really nice scrap project. I have just some scrap batik fabric in this beautiful orange. Just give it a little press. And what we're going to need to do is, I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to make sure this is the right size. I'm going to kind of cut it down for ease of cutting's sake. And what I like to do is two things here. I like to spray the back of my paper patterns with the SpraynBond pattern and stencil adhesive. It's sticky enough that it will stick to your fabric, but it stays on the paper and it peels right up. So I just put the tiniest little bit on there. And what this does is it holds it to that top piece of fabric, so that when you pick it up, it's not, this is flopping down, which we're going to pin that. But then this piece is not flopping. So if you've ever tried to cut with a stencil and you're trying to make sure the stencil stays flush with the fabric, but then the fabric will just keep flopping down, this spray adhesive, which is temporary and it doesn't leave any residue or anything on your fabric, is great for that. Now, like I said, I am going to pin, since I'm doing 2 layers together. That way my back layer is held with my front. So we're going to cut this out. When I didn't go into it, my older daughter, so I have a 10-year-old, she is going to be a cat. And again, since I am back working, I did not make the costume. But we went and bought black sweatpants and a black sweatshirt and a little cute cat ears and tail. All right, so we have our pumpkin. Let me make sure I'm in the screen here. I'm just going to peel that right off, and all the sticky stays right on the paper, and nothing is left on your fabric. I am going to keep these 2 together. The reason for that is because I used a batik and there's really no right or wrong side. It might be difficult for me if I separate them trying to get them back together, because we did use a pattern, but my cutting is not perfect. So the next thing we'll need to cut out is what's going to go in the center. And for this, scraps are great. I am using the scrap of the StitchnSew Fleece from HeatnBond, ThermOWeb. So, and this is still sticky, so what's nice is I can just go like this. And it's not woven, so I can put it any way I want. Woven means that there is a warp and a weft, and I'm really excited to talk about that because I'm actually teaching my students this kind of stuff.
My goal is one of them will find a passion and love for fiber arts by the time they are done in my class. So we're going to cut this out on the line, but then, like with most of the things I do, I'm going to cut 1/4 of an inch off. And I'm just using the same pattern instead of having a separate pattern to cut out. And oh, I'm just hit my camera. Sorry about that. So now I'm going to cut this about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch in. Just about. You don't need to measure unless you really want to. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned you can use these more for coasters. These would be great if you strung them on a garland. I mean, this pumpkin template could also be used as applique. It's very cute. All right. So now we are going to sandwich these together. And it's small, so we don't need to use the basting adhesive. I like it because since we are sewing kind of around a curve, it's nice to have it just there in case I am looking for my scrap piece of paper so I can spray it without getting it, because this one, I don't want to get any overspray. The other one was just right on the little tiny piece on the paper. Okay. And then just center it between your layers like so. So we still need to add the stem. We're going to do that before we do any sewing. For this, I'm just using some scrap felt that I have. And we can make it this size. All right. And it seems really long because we're going to insert it pretty far down in there so that we get it gets caught in the stitches like that, because we'll be stitching and it will catch it. All right, so the next step is I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a zigzag stitch all the way around about 1/4 of an inch in. And then what I'm going to do while I'm over there is you'll notice on the pattern I have included some stitch lines. Those might not be as easily seen. Let me this is on the back of it where you can see I added some stitch lines. It kind of gives it it's essentially quilted by doing this. It's the 3 layers and then the stitch lines. So while I'm over at the machine, I'm going to check any comments, and I will be sewing around the pumpkin and then the individual stitch lines while I'm over there. So I'll be back. Woo! And I'm hitting cords. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, let me get you turned towards my machine. I will increase the camera. Don't mind the messiness of my room. Does anybody else have a messy craft or sewing space? I am guilty. Okay. Watching my step this time. The thing is I have a cord from my phone, which is where you see me now, over to my light, down and up to my computer. It's just the way it works in here. All right, so I've sewn it, and I did it in white so that it could be more easily seen on camera tonight. So you can see I did my zigzag around the edges and my stitching to create the segments of the pumpkin, like so. So the next step is I am going to put the fringe around the pumpkin. You can also use pinking shears. I like the fringe, and it really, especially after I washed the two that I finished, it really helped fluff them up. I don't know what it is about fall and like wintertime, just that fringe, that fluffiness. It just goes well together. So I am just going around, and then when I get to here, I am just going to do it in the front. You can go back and do it in the back as well. So I think I said about 1/4 of an inch. It looks like I did more like 3/8 or slightly larger. Any lefties out there? This is starting to hurt my hand because they're not left-handed scissors. There we go. Okay. So with time and washing, we can get the fringe to really stand out, like this one and this one. So now we are going to be adding the sparkle paste. So like I said in the beginning, there are different ways to add it, and I'm still discovering more. So what I have tonight is just the first things that I've discovered on what to do for this. I'm sure I will discover more, and I will share those with you. But tonight, I'm going to open these and show them to you first. So I'm going to be using the orange again, just so that I can have a matching set. But I have 3 different colors here, and they are so shiny. I don't know if the camera can even do it justice. So pretty. That's the pumpkin. This one's called Sugar. It's really pretty pink. Oh, there's 2 different pinks, and I chose this pink because I liked it. That was a little bit darker. So let me kind of swipe that in there. I'm going to save it all. So this is like it's called Sugar, and it's a good name for it. Almost, it does remind me of like a sugar pink, like frosted donuts. And this one I'm really excited for, and I think I have to open this one too. This one is called Snowflake, and you might be able to see from the bottom, it's very iridescent and all sorts of colors. And again, it's not open. I haven't used this one yet. And yeah, the camera does not do it justice. It is beautiful. But so tonight, like I said, you can do an application with paintbrush. This is a very thin application with paintbrush. I didn't do the whole thing. I was just playing around with it. I have a really neat idea, and I'm sure it's something that's been tried. Is there's a T-shirt from my school, and it has, it says like they're, go Panthers or something on it. It has a heart, and the one that you can buy has like sparkle in the heart. And I'm just imagining like having like doing my own applique of a heart and then putting the sparkle in the center. That That's what's on my mind right now. So, but tonight I want to show you the method I used. I used a stencil for this one. So it's a little bit thicker application than using the paintbrush. So I'm going to protect my workspace with my handy dandy old cutting board. And I would normally use like a credit card, or you could use a piece of cardboard. I believe there are also application tools you can use for this. I'm just using what I had on hand, which happens to be a trading card of my children's. And we're going to use it to get the sparkle paste out. Now for this, you'll want to be able to hold this very steady, and in the area you're working, hold it very tight so that it doesn't slip around. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this, and then I'm going to hold and kind of place it where I want it. And the nice thing is that even if it goes over your stitching, it still stays, which I really like. So we're just going to kind of lay some of that down to kind of get it off of the card. And then I'm going to scrape it. I went a little too far up. Keep scraping it to get nice and flat layers. Now this stencil I actually got from ThermOWeb as well. It's a Rena K detail stencil. Dawn might be able to say the name. It doesn't have the name on the packaging, which I have right there. I think it's something with sunshine. I got it because I'm actually dressing up, not for Halloween, but for a soiree, which is the biggest fundraiser for the school that I work at, and it's a costume party. And if you've been on the blog, you would have seen the dress that I did, the applique for of the Roy Lichtenstein inspired. And I got this so that I could do this on some earrings and some other jewelry that I have been making. All right, I'm just doing a quick scrape, get anything extra and kind of press it down. And you can't tell from the camera, I am holding this very tightly, getting ready to lift it up. Voila. There it is. So I am going to go rinse this very quickly so that it doesn't drown here, because you want to wash your tools as soon as you're done. So 30 seconds. I'll be right back. All clean. And you'll want to do that with if you use any brushes as well. Now the trading card, I just threw that away because I'm done with it. All right, so now what you have to do with this is you have to let it dry for an hour. And we don't have an hour here, so I made one that we can use for the next step. So you let it dry for an hour, and then you have to set the sparkle paste. So here's the one I did earlier. I have not set this one yet, so I could go and wash this off, and it might leave a little bit of glitter, but I washed it off when I made a mistake and it came off. So for this though, you will need to use some pressing paper. You don't want to ruin your nice iron, and you're going to press it. Just show that sparkle again. It's so pretty. You're going to press it for 60 seconds. And you want it on the high heat setting. And you'll just press for 60 seconds. And I'll keep talking and I'll probably lose count, but that's okay. after you've pressed it, you do want to let it cure for 24 hours before washing it, using it. But then after that, it's permanent. I can see, not only for that t-shirt idea I was thinking about, I can see I might do an ornament, a Christmas ornament with it too. That would be really pretty. And I believe if you go on the blog, one of the other educational designers, she recently did something. I don't know if it's been posted or not, but she sewed with it. So keep an eye out for that one. So you can sew on it too. Because she did the sparkle paste ahead of time. But I'm blanking on whether if that's been out or not. So I'm sorry. But it's coming if it's not there. All right, I think it's been about 60 seconds. We'll go another 10. Okay. All right. So I would then let this cure for 24 hours before using or washing. And I almost have a whole set. Hope this was my wet one. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Here we go. You can see I did a better job cutting these ones out than these ones. So that is all for the live tonight, I believe. If you were in the on the live, make sure that you dropped a comment. Dawn, one of the moderators, will be drawing a gift card for the online website. I'm going to head back over to my computer and see what's going on in the chat. Oh, good. It has been posted. I thought it was, but I get confused, so. So yes, the Sparkling Sunflower Quilts by Belinda. She actually did the sparkle paste and then sewed it. The ironing paper, actually, I didn't have an image of it. Let me see if I can get a link. What I used, it's ThermOWeb's pressing paper. So Diane Huggins, that's what I was using. I didn't have an image of the packaging. And congratulations to Pinky Duff. Heather, I don't know too much about the Pixie spray for the stencil on the pumpkin. I'll have to look at that. Okay, is it almost, it's very similar? Okay. So the pattern and stencil spray or Pixie spray. Good to know. All right, I will keep the live going for another couple minutes, and then this live will be available on our YouTube
channel, as well as if you search long and hard enough, you'll be able to find it in the feed here on Facebook. But much quicker is if you go to ThermOWeb's YouTube channel. I'll have that posted. It'll be available by tomorrow morning for a replay if you needed anything to be replayed. So again, I want to thank everyone who came in tonight and joined us. It was fun learning in this new product. I'm excited to try new things with it and share it with you here in the future. But until next time, I hope you have a good night. And for those who have kids or grandkids or just like to enjoy tomorrow's little shindig, have a happy Halloween. And I will see you all in November. Have a good night.